Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the first AUBH podcast with me, faculty Zophine
and Amy.
And today we have two really lovely workshop runners from MIT. They're running the MISTI workshop. We hear it's going fabulously. We've heard very little, but that's what we've heard. Would you like to introduce yourselves by name?
Yeah, I can start. I'm Subhash. I'm a senior at MIT. I study physics and computer science there. I'm originally from Jupiter, Florida, which is a small beach town in like the south of Florida. Kind of like Bahrain weather-wise, actually. So it's really nice to come here during the winter instead of staying in like the cold, like frigid Boston winter. At MIT, I study physics and computer science. I do a lot of things similar to wearables, although a lot of my research is around AI and physics. The goal being like one day, hopefully we can get physics to be like completely solved by AIs, where I can give it all this data of the physical world. And it can tell me all the physical laws that govern the entire universe. So that's like what I work towards in my academic life. And then outside of that, I like to do a lot of different service things at MIT. I advise the president of MIT on this like undergraduate panel. I serve in the committee of academic performance there, which is really sick. And then I teach a lot too. So I teach in the Leadership Training Institute at MIT. We mentor like Boston high schoolers in like leadership, communication, public speaking every Sunday during the spring semester. And then I do a lot of what's called GTL, Global Teaching Labs. MIT sends students across the world to teach in classrooms. And then this year I'm teaching in Bahrain in this wonderful school at AUBH, this wearables workshop with my co-teacher, Tiffany.
Hi. Okay, I'll go
Hi,
ahead
Tiffany.
and do the second round of introductions. I'm Tiffany. I'm a fourth year at MIT. I study electrical engineering. And I'm also, like Subhash, very interested in teaching. That's sort of one of my goals for long-term things in life and everything that I want to do. This is part of my third year doing GTL, and I'm sure we'll be talking about the rest of it later. But in the side, I also do research on sort of wearable design and sensor development with labs at MIT, and this is sort of the topic that I'm interested in pursuing in the future as well. I also love traveling. I also love creating. I love working in makerspaces, things like the D-Lab that you guys have here, and it's super exciting to see all the students and what they can do.
And I guess a really quick introductory question, what is your favorite thing to do in Boston?
Oh, in Boston? Do you wanna go first?
Okay, this is gonna sound very nerdy, but I love the Red Line in Boston. I love the T system. I'm from LA, which also has very similar weather to Bahrain, but there is no public transport there, and I'm not a fan of cars, and I love the public transportation system in Boston.
So that's your hobby?
Yeah, I'll go on the T.
That's awesome.
I think that sounds amazing. So what?
I actually live in Boston, like Boston proper. So MIT is in Cambridge, and there's this bridge, the Harvard Bridge, that connects Cambridge and Boston. And that walk is like my favorite walk to do, like in the world. Like I've been very lucky to like travel a lot and walk in a lot of different places. It's like one of my favorite hobbies. And like that walk that I do every day is like so good at clearing my mind. And in the evenings, it's so nice with the sunset. Like by far my favorite thing to do in Boston.
Walk and train.
Yeah, we're very lame people, you know. Super simple.
No, we'll
Sounds
hear
amazing.
the good stuff later too. We'll get into it.
It's all about transport.
Okay, so you mentioned that you love traveling. I think both of you are avid travelers, so this experience is probably so nice for you because you get to go to new countries, experience something totally different. And so I want to just know, first of all, what are your first impressions of Bahrain? What were sort of your thoughts prior to coming here? And yeah, how did you feel when you knew you were coming here?
Yeah, I guess I'll go first. I think before I came here, I think my goal in terms of being part of this greater GTL program and having taught around the world, I really, really wanted to know more about the Arab world and about like the Middle East and everything here. I don't have that much experience with it, and I've learned through traveling that that's really the best way to get to know people and get to know the cultures and the places to see and things to do around the world. And so I was like, okay, Bahrain is this somewhat nebulous island. I talked to my friends that I'm going there and they're like, what's that? Where's
Yes.
that? And I really wanted to just see this place. And then upon arriving, it's just everyone here is incredibly friendly, incredibly welcoming. It's warm weather. It's wonderful for the winter, and we've been able to do a lot of things outside because of that. And I'm just super excited to continue meeting more people and more students here.
So one of the things that whenever I first traveled here, people told me it was the island of smiles. And I am sure that you've seen that that's a reality. Like, Bahraini people are so warm.
Remarkably friendly.
Yeah, so friendly. So I'm glad you've had that experience. Subhash, do you want to add anything about sort of your expectations before coming here and your excitement for it, and how maybe it's been the same or different than what you were anticipating?
Yeah, totally. I think, like, along with Tiffany, I like to travel a lot, and there's like a big difference, I think, when you're traveling to a place as a tourist and just going around to see the sights, and then when you really engage with the place. And I think like teaching is one of these ways to really engage with the place, to really talk to people, like learn what a place is about. The Middle East, like in general, is such like a broad and such a rich like region in terms of culture. And it was like one of these places that I had never like really touched before. And I really wanted to spend a month in Bahrain, traveling around the Middle East to like feel what it would be like, especially because I'm Indian. And there's so many Indians living in the Gulf. In Bahrain, I think it's like 600,000 out of like 1.6 million or something.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see like what my identity would be like in a new context. It's been really fascinating being in Bahrain, I think, because of that reason. And like to reiterate what you said, like remarkably friendly people. All the students we talk to, like all smiles every day, like a lot of fist bumps. It's really good energy. It's nice to be on an island with great weather. Just a beautiful place. It's been really rewarding so far.
That's so good to hear. Well, you came at a perfect time of the year too. So it's
Perpetual summertime.
yeah. It's amazing. And I know you guys had plans to make the most of your time here and try to travel within the region as well. Can you tell us what are your plans, or what have you done so far?
Yeah. So actually, before coming to Bahrain, a few of us went to Morocco for a week, and that was really awesome.
Oh, wow.
That
yeah.
does sound amazing.
Yeah, we were in like Marrakesh for New Year's, and like that was a whole vibe, and it was really
gosh.
exceptional because of that. And then I think even like Morocco, you know, extremely like Middle Eastern like, even though it's not really in the Middle East like geographically, but then you come to Bahrain and the Gulf and it feels like so different, and like it just goes, it's like such a testament that there's so much diversity even here. And we spent this weekend in Oman, which was like so beautiful. The natural beauty there was incredible. Actually, we met Amy just like a few days before going to Oman, and I saw she had a travel blog. I was like, I need to text her. I need to get recommendations for Oman. And she was so nice and so kind and reached out to people in Oman to give us recommendations. And we got to go to Wadi Ashab, which is this beautiful, like, you swim into a hike and then swim and then hike and then swim and then hike, and then finally you get to this like cliff diving part, which was exceptional. And the Dumniet Islands were so beautiful. We like swam with sea turtles, which I'd never seen before in the wild. And it was kind of funny, like the first day ended and I got a text from Amy and she was like, you should not go to Wadi Ashab. Like my friend told me you're going to spend so much time in Wadi Ashab. And I was like, Amy, this is like the best thing that we did like on this entire trip.
I know. I was just trying to think about how to make the best use of your time.
Yeah.
You did not go to Fort Nazwa though, right?
No, we didn't get to.
Didn't make
we really
it.
wanted to.
Yeah, it's another trip.
Yeah,
Another trip,
another
right?
time.
But I'm so happy that you ended up going to the Wadi, because I know you were ecstatic about that. So that's
Yeah.
really cool.
And I think like just another testament to the friendliness of Bahraini people. Like one of the people who works in the D Lab is Omani, and I just asked him like, oh, do you have any recs for Oman? Can you help us? And he was like, my uncle's a tour guide. Like I'll set you up. And his uncle was so kind and like allowed us to do everything and told us where to go, where to eat, like what to do, and like didn't charge a dime. And it was just like it was so much friendliness, and I was so impressed. It was incredible.
I think that you'll find this like throughout the Gulf, honestly. They are so hospitable. And even the friend that I reached out to, I mean, it's been like a couple years since I really touched base with her, and like immediately it was like firing off recommendations for you guys, and that just speaks to the nature of the Khariji people, the Gulf people. Yeah. So let's see.
Bahrain?
I mean, we touched on Bahrain a little bit, but I think I would like to know how you feel about AUBH. What's your impression of AUBH students, and how's your experience working here and working with our students? Yeah.
They've been absolutely incredible. It is to say that like half our workshop, or actually only a third of our workshop, are AUBH students, and then the other third are just students from other universities in Bahrain. But the AUBH students have been really great in showing us around when we don't know where things are. Like the first day we came here, we didn't have a prep period. So we came here at 7 a.m. and we started the workshop at 9. And between that time, it was like getting used to the campus. And this fourth year came around and introduced us to everything that we needed to know about it. But AUBH has a gorgeous campus. We're incredibly jealous coming from MIT's.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No,
Come on.
all the buildings at MIT are from like the 1970s, like super retro,
So beautiful.
like brutalist design.
Yeah.
I
Oh
don't know.
gosh.
I don't know. It's nice to be
The
in a place
grass
that's
is
new.
always greener. Really.
1970s architecture is very blocky.
Yeah,
That is
it's different.
true.
It's a different time.
It's very different.
But to like even touch on what Tiffany was saying, like we came here, we've had the privilege of teaching a few times around the world, and like we came into AUBH, and this like the room that we were teaching in was like covered in these posters that said wearable design, MISTI, Arab World, AUBH, BBK. It was awesome. Like we'd never seen that before. Like the level of professionalism of the school and the students and the friendliness that we've already talked about so much, but you can't talk about too much. All of it has been exceptional.
Yeah.
And actually, seeing as you already touched on it, we should segue to your other workshops because you've done this program in other places.
Yeah.
I believe you had mentioned South Korea. What would you have to say about the other places and the other workshops? What are the kinds of experiences that you've had?
Yeah, they've all been really unique. South Korea, for me and Tiffany, we've taught in the same place every year, but not always on the same team. So in South Korea, we were both in South Korea at the same time, but we didn't talk at all. We weren't on the same team. We didn't go to the same school. In South Korea was during the COVID era. So like we had to quarantine for 10 days before we actually got into the country. So I saw like New Year's pass like on my phone. Like I saw the time change to like 12:01, and it was a little bit depressing. But it was totally worth it. We got to teach, or at least I should say I got to teach underprivileged kids from around Seoul, from what are in what's called a hagwon. It's like an after-school program, and a lot of these kids, like some of them came in with like clothes that were too big and their nails were like very long, and it was like clear that like they didn't come from the best places, and it was very much a privilege for me, I think, to like teach them, learn from them. I think you learn a lot when you work with kids, no matter what age they are, and especially like 13, like 12, 14. They have so much energy and they bring that out and they smile so much, and it was a privilege for me to teach there, and it was very fulfilling for me.
Were you doing a similar thing in South Korea, Tiffany?
Yeah, so my South Korea was also based in Seoul, and I was working with students whose families were themselves from North Korea, and had moved to South Korea to join and integrate into the school system there. So it was an incredibly unique school. It's the only one of their kind in Seoul, and it just was super empowering to the students, I think, to have this sort of workshop where we spent the entire day just exploring different topics in STEAM and engineering. And it personally, for me, I was like, this is why I want to teach, really, in the end. And it sort of kicked off the rest of us going to GTL for the rest of my time at MIT. Yeah.
It sounds really interesting, too, because the students here are obviously older than the students that you've taught in some of the other places.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
What are some of the other places that you've been to?
So, like last year, me and Tiffany were on the same team. We taught in South Africa and Botswana. So we did a 1-week workshop in South Africa and a 1-week workshop in Botswana. That was already very different, I think, from South Korea, in that, like, in South Africa, we stayed at this, like, beautiful, like, preparatory academy. Do you remember what it was called by any chance?
John's.
Yeah, something St. John's or something like that. And it was gorgeous, like Hogwarts style. Like, I had never seen it before.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
my dream come true.
Yeah, right? But they brought, like, the smartest kids from, like, all around the region. So not just South Africa. We're talking, like, Botswana, like, all around. And we got to teach them for a week. And it was so impressive, like, how fast they'd pick up, like, these super advanced concepts in AI and machine learning.
Wow.
And, like, I mean, I struggled with this when I was learning it as, like, a junior at MIT. And, like, these kids are learning it in, like, 1 week. And I can see them, like, asking questions that show that they're, like, just learning so much.
What were the ages?
I think they were 9th through 12th grade. So, like, 15 to
Wow.
18. And, like, yeah, I feel like every time, like, I like, teach kids, you kind of think, like, oh, could I have done this at their age? And I just don't know if the answer is yes, you know? Like, they
And
were
it
so
pushes
talented.
you, right?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
It's
Better.
crazy. They keep you on your toes.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the
Yeah.
parts of teaching that people don't talk about that much, is that, like, when you teach something, you, like, really learn it again for yourself, just
Yeah.
because, like, you have to master material in order to like, transfer to somebody else.
Yeah.
And you're constantly growing.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
lets you constantly grow intellectually, which is
Yeah.
nice, stimulating.
Exactly. Like, I have this thesis that, like, knowledge is only, like, worth something if you're expanding it or sharing it, and it's beautiful to, like, share knowledge with people, especially people who really want to learn. And that was true, I think, about South Africa and Botswana, and also true about the students at AUBH.
Yeah,
Wow,
for sure.
Okay.
Awesome.
And what are the overall goals of MISTI? You want to expand a little bit on that?
Yeah, so MISTI it's sort of complicated because we use a lot of acronyms at MIT. But
Yes, I looked
MISTI
them all up before this podcast because I was so confused.
MISTI is the Greater MIT International Travel Program, and its whole goal is to really integrate us and establish that global connection throughout MIT. So GTL is one of those sub-programs, but we've also done internships through MISTI. There's entrepreneurship, startup-based organizations as well, and I think its greater goal is to give the students that opportunity to go around the world and to connect with people and to establish those relations.
How many students from MIT take part in MISTI and the GTL? You're saying the global.
Oh man.
I thought they had a stat that like throughout the 4 years, it's like half of all MIT students do something
Oh,
in MISTI,
wow.
but you
That
like
is
don't quote me on
amazing.
that. But
No, we won't.
yeah.
We
I
won't.
think
It's
that
going
might
out
need
into
to be.
the world.
Yeah.
We'll look it up and verify.
Yeah.
Fact
Yeah.
checkers.
But it really plays into like MIT's mission. MIT has a slogan, "Mens et manus," which means mind in hand. So like you have to learn things, but you also have to do things. And I think like it's great that we're very privileged to be in this like intellectual bubble that is MIT, but it's definitely a bubble at the end of the day. And you don't know what the real world is like until you go out and see it. And I think MISTI is really good at forcing people to like go out, experience the world, like make these connections with people of like different cultures and backgrounds, and do so through knowledge, which is a shared language that we all speak.
Yes.
And it's like a super cool message in that sense and a great mission. I have the take that like MISTI is the best program at MIT just because I've got to travel for free to like 20 countries by now.
Yeah.
And that's just like, when are you going to get the chance to do that again in your life?
Yeah.
You know?
That sounds amazing. And you're a senior. Tiffany, you're a junior, you said?
I'm also a senior.
Oh, you're also a senior. So is this the last time that both of you will do this program?
So we're actually eligible to do it for another year.
Yeah.
But
Do
I
it.
think we're both a little
Yeah.
tired. It's like it's super intense to like go from school and then like immediately go on like a 12-hour flight to like somewhere around the world and
Yeah.
get acclimated to
Sure.
a completely new culture. It's kind of like whiplash.
Yeah.
And then you
Yeah.
travel on the weekends, and it's even more whiplash when you come back. But I don't think that like it doesn't mean anything about GTL itself. It's just that me and Tiffany are old.
Yeah.
Oh,
We're a
please.
little
Don't say that.
talking to.
Yeah, what's going on here?
Yeah, come on. No.
Yeah. It's actually, there's a lot of preparation involved that the school lets us do, and then also we do ourselves in terms of the curriculum. So during the school year, during that fall semester, before we're leaving in January, we're prepping for about like 2 to 3 months, talking to the schools, arranging the program schedule, and then also redeveloping what we should be teaching the students. And so it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's intense.
But it's well worth it.
And also
yeah.
Tiffany is our team lead. So
Yeah,
she does even
yeah.
more
I
than I
imagine.
do.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And out of the countries you've been to, is there one that you really wanted to go to that you got to, or is that you really enjoyed?
Do you want to go first, Tiffany?
I know Bahrain
I mean,
is sticking out
Bahrain,
to
yeah,
you.
Bahrain is obviously
Yeah,
off
number
the
one,
table.
for
It's
sure.
number one.
For
But
sure.
what
Yes.
after that?
Do you want a place that we taught at or just that we visited?
that you, well, you choose.
But you did the MISTI workshops then.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, yeah.
You want to go?
I think this is an incredibly difficult question, mainly because I think both of our travel experiences are all around the world, and we really chose for that to like be able to expand as much as we can in terms of like learning new things around the world. The biggest impression for me, maybe a little bit of recency bias. I think I don't know much about Botswana. The reason I went to there and applied to South Africa was like I saw it on GeoGuessr. You know that game where you like play Google Maps and you try to like find out where something
guys haven't
is by
seen this?
pinpointing it in Google
You get like
I
an
have
image
no
of a
idea.
country and you can like move around in it. It's like Google Earth and you have to figure out like what country you're in as
Yeah.
fast as
Oh, that's
possible.
cool.
Yeah.
What is
yeah.
it called?
GeoGuessr.
GeoGuessr?
Okay, you can show
Okay.
us
Yeah.
after this.
Yeah,
I want to see it.
It's a really fun game, but I saw like the whole South Africa Botswana area on Google Maps, and I was like, when I was playing that game, I really wanted to go there, and it was incredible just being able to find the right program and find the right fit to
Wow.
teleport into those experiences with the expansive landscapes everywhere.
And
the
it must have been really
sunsets.
nice because it was also summertime when you
Yeah,
guys were
yeah,
there.
yeah.
So it must be gorgeous, right? Exactly.
I would also go South Africa, I think. I was like a big fan of Nelson Mandela throughout high school. Like I really like his book, Long Walk to Freedom. And it's like striking because like apartheid was only struck down in like 94 or something. So you talk to adults in all of South Africa, and a lot of them have lived through apartheid, which is just like, it's almost unimaginable to me.
Yeah.
And it was special to me again. Like I like exploring my Indian heritage wherever I go. Like Indians were also a scheduled class under apartheid, and it was like interesting talking to like older Indians who were there, especially because like I think the largest Indian city outside of India is in South Africa actually.
That's right. Yeah, it's the largest amount of Indians outside of India.
Yeah, which is it's unbelievable. And it was cool, I think, when you talk to students about it, because they also have this like really interesting perspective on what the country is and what it can be. And what was really fascinating about South Africa is at the end of the program, we do these type of capstone projects. We're doing something similar for wearable design. But for South Africa, we asked students to think of something, some idea, even if they couldn't implement it, and just like sell us on something that's technology related. And so many students decided to do things that were about improving South Africa. Like a consistent theme was improving the electrical system, I think, in South Africa. They use this electrical provider called Eskom, I think, and it's really bad. And
they
like,
hate the load
yeah.
shedding.
Load shedding.
It's actually
shedding
unbelievable.
sucks.
Like we'd be teaching, and at like 4 p.m. the lights would go off. We'd be like, "What's going on?"
Oh my
And like we'd
gosh.
continue our lecture like on the blackboard, writing things out instead of using PowerPoint slides. And I think it's really cool when like people are very committed to making their country better and are very patriotic and also proud of the place they are. And I think South Africa was cool for all of these regions. Such a complex and like nuanced region where like students would speak like 7 or 8 languages, which is like unfathomable to me.
Wow.
Yeah.
But then also have this like shared kind of unified vision of what their country is and what it can be. I thought it was beautiful.
Yeah, that is beautiful because I feel like in situations like that, you could go one way or the other. So to see that the spirit is still alive there and it's working with optimism is really, really special.
Also, Cape Town is one of the most
I didn't
beautiful
get to go
cities
to
in the
Cape
world.
Town.
Oh,
Cape
it's
Town
gorgeous.
is gorgeous.
Table Mountain, my all-time favorite climb.
Oh yeah,
Really-
I agree.
yeah,
I
really,
agree.
really nice.
It was nice.
You didn't do it?
No, we got to do
Yeah.
a safari though, like in
Yeah.
the north of South Africa, and that was also incredible. Like I've never seen that many animals before: white rhinos, black rhinos, lions. Like oh, no tigers, but
No,
it was great.
The Big Five. I don't remember.
Yeah.
what's on the Big Five.
We got 4 of
giraffe,
the 5.
rhino.
No, giraffe's not one of them.
Elephants?
Elephants.
Yeah,
Buffalo.
elephants.
Buffalo's in the top 5, in the Big 5.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just didn't get the leopard.
So now we're on a travel show. We're gonna move back. We're gonna move
Yes.
back.
Let's go back to the MISTI
Yeah.
workshop.
Get back on the script. yeah.
Because she was talking about the objectives of other workshops.
Sure.
What's the objective of the AUBH one?
Yeah. So the objective of our interactive wearable technology, building interactive wearable technology workshop is to build interactive wearable technologies.
Yeah.
Okay.
Amazing. Right.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I think so.
But the scope is incredibly broad. Wearables is an incredibly broad category, and it's sort of the vision of what everything can be in the future, right? It could be like Apple Watches that people are very normalized to, but then it can also be integrated sensors into your everyday clothing or medical devices or robotics, and all of these categories sort of constitute what wearables can be. And so what we're really teaching in this workshop is the skills that students can use to build up interdisciplinary technologies like wearables. So Subhash and our other teammate, Alex Clutch, over there are sort of teaching the Python and coding side in order to deal with data processing and visualization of all the data that comes in post sensors. And then like Pip and I are teaching this sort of manufacturing and fabrication aspect and design in order to build the physical aspect of this wearable device. And in the end, all the students just accumulate their skills into one capstone project.
Okay, so can you kind of walk us through the setup? Like students, how many students do you have, for example? And what is the process to ultimately get them to develop a wearable, right?
So I think we have around 25 students in 2 sessions. So we
Okay.
had one session of 2 weeks and then
Okay.
another session of 2 weeks. They're kind of identical. In each session, we start with like 1 week of like skill building. So Tiffany kind of talked about this. Wearables are a great thing for people to learn just because there's so many skills required to make one. So in doing this like one project, you learn like these 3 different skills I would broadly define as like mechanical skills, so like building something physical,
okay.
electrical to like get the wiring to work and stuff like that, and then programming, coding, making something do something based off inputs and outputs. So we build up those skills during this first week. And then the second week, people actually go and execute on a project, on a vision that they have, that they brainstorm throughout the first week with a certain team. And these teams are very diverse, like gender-wise, school-wise. We have students from like AUBH, University of Bahrain, Polytechnic, from all around.
And you arranged them. You arranged the teams.
Yeah,
Yes.
Tiffany did actually. Tiffany like
Okay.
made sure each group was also diverse in skill set.
Okay.
Yeah, that was very interesting when Tiffany was talking about that, so
Yes.
that you had a fully rounded team.
Yeah, you don't want like 4 computer scientists.
Yeah.
on one team, 'cause, like, what are
Right.
they gonna build? It's gonna look very ugly at the very best, you know.
Right.
Um,
That's very good.
And I think like even broader than that, there's just like problem solving like mindset that's really hard to teach. Because like when you have these 3 like abstract little Venn diagram circles, if something goes wrong in your project, you don't know like where it's coming from and like how to solve that problem. And to like go about that is really complex. So we even do like small little kind of like icebreaker games on the Saturdays where we teach a full day. So the first one was building a marshmallow tower. So like you build a marshmallow tower with spaghetti sticks and marshmallows to hold the spaghetti sticks together, and you're trying to suspend a weight for a certain amount of time. And the other little activity we do is a like egg drop challenge. Like you're gonna drop an egg from a story of a building. Can you make some sort of packaging that's as light as possible to keep the egg from breaking? And like these seem like really silly like grade school kind of projects to do, but it's really at the end of the day what prototyping is, what building is. You have this goal, you have these constraints. Like how can you actually go about doing this? It's like way harder than people think, I think often, but it like really goes to be like a good microcosm for what building a wearable is.
The first week is dedicated to getting them ready to basically work in teams and develop their own technology. Okay, and then so there's two different groups. So there's about 25 in each one. I'm just summarizing. And then what happens at the end? Everyone has their projects ready. What's going on at the end?
How many people are in each team?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So each team has vaguely about 3 to 5 people. They're sort of in flux right now. The second group is still working on their teams. But these 3 to 5 people tend to all work together, and we sign them at the beginning of the workshop. And our goal is to really make them build that dynamic and to really talk to each other and learn from each other as much as possible throughout the 2 weeks until the end, where they have a showcase day. The showcase day, we'll have it on February 1st from 5 to 7 p.m. Is a sort of science fair style showcase. We decided that would be the best for everyone to be able to highlight how to interact with their wearable technology. And then we'll be having people invited from students to parents, principals of other schools. And
Is it open?
it is, I believe, an open
And
event.
it's in the auditorium from 5 to 7
right across
Yeah.
on the first.
It'll be
Okay.
actually in the space that we currently work in, so we can showcase this prototyping process that the students have been through in order to build up their projects too.
And you want people to come because there's a People's Choice Award, I hear.
Yeah, we're actually we're giving out 3 different awards.
Okay.
One award is most innovative, so like what's the most creative idea to solve some sort of problem. There's best technical design, so like who actually executed on that idea the best. And then the last one is like a fun one, People's Choice Award. We want to have everybody voting. We haven't decided on the mechanism for voting yet, on what their favorite project was. And then these 3 awards will be distributed to the students and the students on those teams. Or the
Can we wear things if you
Wear.
come in? Are they going to put stuff on us? The
Oh.
wearable
Oh,
technology?
like can you try them out?
Yeah.
We're encouraging the students to really interact with the
that would
audience.
be
That sounds amazing.
really cool.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be a bad wearable showcase, I think, if nobody could wear it.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
Right. I don't want it to be behind glass. and,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
yes. No, but we can actually like go up to it and like.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can
That
you
would be amazing.
give away anything that we might see if we attend this showcase?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. We don't want to spoil the students'
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
want you to
Shine.
spoil
Yeah.
it either, but just some
It's not
hints.
classified.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of the students the past session were really interested in the idea of motion tracking. So you might see a lot of motion-based elements of their projects. There's also a lot of interest in sort of microphones and this noise level idea in the world, and maybe how else do you interpret that signal, and where can that go from there?
And then one last thing I think was really cool was this like transmitter receiver kind of style thing where like students would build a wearable like maybe on their hand or like a shirt thing, and it would control something else that was some distance away, which I think is really cool, like Iron Man
Whoa.
style, you know, mess around
Wow.
with electronics.
And we get to try these out.
Yes.
We're going to go. We're
Yeah,
coming.
you should.
We already knew we
Definitely
were
gonna
coming.
come.
Do we have any idea what the prizes for the awards are?
Oh, do
Is
we
there a
know right
prize?
now, Tiffany?
Are
Or
there
is
prizes?
it award
There's
enough?
certainly-
Is it
There's
it's
certainly
a
a
bragging
prize.
right. It's a bragging
There's
right.
certainly
Yeah.
an award. In terms of the prize, I think we're still working on it, but we might fabricate our own using
Yeah.
the skills that we have gained and the tools that we
There you
have
go.
at the D Lab.
Yeah. We
Good
covered it
things.
all, I think. Do you guys have
Yeah.
anything else to add?
I
Nothing?
think we did a lot. We covered a lot today.
We did.
Yeah.
We were fast.
I imagine we were fast.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
How did
What time
But
is it?
let's conclude. Let's wrap this
Yeah,
up.
sure.
I want to
Yeah.
just
Outros.
thank you both for taking time, first of all, to put on the workshop here. And I'm sure our students and the students in Bahrain are benefiting so much from your knowledge and your teaching. And we're so appreciative. And I think, for me, I'm just excited that I got to know you and I get to see where also you go in your life with your careers and especially your teaching career.
Yeah, and we
And-
hope that you
This is
let us know.
I really want to keep in touch
Yeah.
with you. It was really nice to know both of you and your whole team, and so I
And
wish
it
you all the best.
sounds like the goals of the MISTI workshops are extraordinary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and especially the one where you're saying in South Korea with the kids and
Yeah.
South Africa sounds very valuable
Yeah.
as well.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So great.
This is the second year, I think, at AUBH. So we want to keep it going for
Yes.
a long time, hopefully.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would
Yeah.
be amazing.
It would.
Maybe you can come back later
Yeah.
on in your lives and,
Yeah.
and visit everyone.
Yes.
That'd be amazing.
And thank you guys for taking time out of your schedules. We know you guys are full-fledged faculty here, so it's big for you guys to record a podcast with only us.
No.
You know?
It's
It's so fun.
Yeah, it's good. And we're excited to come. I'm excited to come and wear some stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
February 1st,
February 1st.
5 to 7
In the
in
auditorium.
the auditorium.
Come vote for your favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure your favorite wins.
Yes.
That's what I'm going to say. Well,
Yeah,
thanks everyone.
we did it.
Thanks everyone
did
for
it.
watching and
Yes,
listening.
yes,
No.
Yes.
Everybody at home.
Thank you everyone at home. And if you come on February the 1st from 5 to 7 in the auditorium, you will get to meet Subhash and Tiffany. And
Meet 'em
also,
before they're famous,
yeah,
guys.
meet
And
them
Tiffany,
now.
maybe.
You know, meet them before all of the good stuff comes. This is good stuff too. All the more good stuff comes. And come meet Alex and Pip too, who are the other two members of the workshop.
Yeah.
And also very lovely people. One of them is hiding in the back. So please come and vote. And I think that's all I got.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you guys.
Bye.